Blog Talk Radio.
Off, only fear fears, but fear does not live here. I am your host, Miss Tonya E. How are we doing this beautiful Tuesday, May 5th, 2015, family? It's a beautiful day here in Charlotte. I sure hope it's beautiful where you are. And we're going to have a beautiful breaking of the bread today, family. We're doing something a little bit different. And just in case you was wondering what that tune was, that was actually coming from a Latin. That was Prince Ali. So, yeah, we're doing something different today, family. And as we always do, actually, we want to first thank all of those that are listening live. And if you're listening to our archive show, we thank you so much also for coming back and listening, because your time is never taken for granted here, family. We love you and we thank you for your time. And be sure to pass the word on. Sound Off, Only Fear Fears, but Fear Does Not Live Here is back on and running. Yes, we may be a little off and on, but we're still here. So please be sure to share the information that we're back. So, family, today we're going to bring awareness to our communities, our families, just community abroad, in regards to families like my special featured guest, my brother that is on hold right now, and his wife have a son that has what has been titled as a disability, and that is autism. And there's a lot of people that have children that are dealing with autism, but I feel like there's a lot of people that don't not deal with it, but speak about it. And today we want to make sure that we, bring some awareness to it and let parents know that you're not alone, and that it's okay. Your children may be considered as disabled, but for us, we don't see that as disabled. All our children are special in all types of ways. And our special featured guest, I love him and his wife so much, and also love his son. And he started something that inspired, uplifted, and empowered me. And this is why we're talking about today, because anything that is doing those three within me, I wanted to be able to do for you all as well, family. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to our special featured guest, my brother, my friend, Mr. Kelly Melerine. Kelly, are you there?
I am here. Good morning.
Good morning. It is beautiful here in Charlotte, isn't it?
Oh, yes, indeed. That's what's up.
Now, listen here, Kelly. This is what we're going to do. We're going to first get into who you are, where you were born and raised, what are you doing now, before we go and turn it over to our son, Cade. So let our listeners know who you are, Kelly, and what's going on with you right now.
Okay, yeah, I was born on the bayou outside of New Orleans. Lived there all of my life until Hurricane Katrina kicked my butt out about 10 years ago. And we came to Charlotte just as refugees and intended on being here temporarily. 10 years later, we're still here. And
wow.
My son is autistic, and the primary reason that we chose to stay here was because there were more resources in this area than there were in New Orleans. I was very homesick for quite a while, and now I realize I can go back to New Orleans anytime I want and just take it in from a tourist point of view.
Okay. Now let's talk about a little, because you wear many hats, many hats. And I was blessed to meet you through our mutual brother, Yanni Couture, that has Yanni Couture Men's European store here in Charlotte. The family, y'all have to go there. He has the best of the best. And I met you through him as you was modeling. So let our listeners know a little bit about how did you come into modeling. Like I said, you have so many different hats that you wear. Modeling, you're a husband, you're a dad, actor, personal fitness trainer. When I brought in the cakes or something that was kind of sweet, you told us to eat some celery. Let them know what's going on with you.
Yeah, well, I'd been in banking for quite a while, and a couple of years ago, we were going through a really, really rough phase with my son, and there's a lot of struggles going on there. I believed it was primarily because of medication. Physicians were trying to convince me that it was just hormones kicking in, and with puberty, it's just the way it is. I refused to believe that. I fought with them, got my son off those medications, and no more trouble with the violent aspect of it that we were going through back then. But when we were going through that, I decided to take a leap of faith and quit my banking job. I became a day trader. Used whatever money I had in retirement, saved up to just get out there and make some money to be able to stay home with him. I was told by people that I need to keep my job and put my son in some sort of facility, and I certainly refused to do that. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to be there for my boy. So, being home by myself, I became kind of like the bored housewife type figure, and just thought, well, there's some other, there's something out there, something I can be doing that is flexible, and, maybe go after some of these dreams that I had. And so I went out, got a personal fitness certification, because I actually enjoy just getting in shape and helping people achieve those goals of a healthier lifestyle, because that's something that was always important for me. The biggest reason for that is many parents have the fear that their child will go before they go. And I think with raising a special needs child, you really, the fear is that, of course, but then there's also the fear that you're going to be gone before they go, and what would happen to them when you're no longer here, and able to look out and speak for them and do whatever it takes to get them into a better place. So fitness has been very important for me, and, I love encouraging other people to do the same. And out on a whim, I just went out to a few auditions and started modeling again in the past year, and been really successful with that. In fact, in the past year, I've done over 20 shows between Charlotte, New York, Washington, D.C., Charleston, Atlanta. Going good, going great. My boy's doing a whole lot better, and that's worth every sacrifice I made.
Well, what the key word that you said, Brother Kelly, is faith. And, if we don't have faith, then we'll always be in fear. And, I'm just as God-fearing as you are. And we have to know and not listen to other people. You made a comment in regards to people who was telling you to put Kate in one of the facilities, and you refused to do that. And I'm grateful that you didn't do that, because, again, our children are our children, and they are our responsibility. And I know you would have felt less than or empty if he wasn't with you. Now, I didn't know that you just started modeling within last year. I didn't know that. I was looking at your profile and things. I'm like, what? It was hard for me to pick some pictures. I was at like 30. I'm like, Tom, you cannot put all 30 pictures. I mean, I could have, but some of them I just refused to put on there because I just wouldn't. But they're all hot.
That's awesome. Yeah, just in the past year, I got out there. I challenged myself to get in what I consider to be the best shape of my life. I put a post on Facebook just a couple of years ago, once I started staying home, just to challenge myself. I asked, is it possible to get in the best shape of your life in your 40s? And then I continued with, we're about to find out. Just to have it out there and have people hold me accountable to that standard. And just, I've been doing whatever I can to challenge myself and make things better for the family.
Well, you've done a great job. You have done not a great job, but you have definitely is a man of essence that is empowering, uplifting, and exceptional. Because again, a lot of our people, or just men and women in general, they feel like they have to have a group of people to push them on. But you said you did have some people that held you accountable, but you yourself knew that you wanted more. So that's awesome. Now, I know also you doing a little acting too. Now, how did that come about?
Actually, when I lived in New Orleans, I did a lot of theater. There's a lot of tourist places to perform, and I was just really passionate about that, and sometimes you get involved in some things, and then you get a little wrapped up in work, and life goes on, and the things that you're really passionate about kind of get put on the back burner. So it's been really good to ignite those flames, and I've done television pilots. I'm on a few commercials. I do industrial videos for corporations. I just shot a scene for a film that should be coming out at the end of the summer called For Michelle.
Okay. All right then. Well, I'm not mad at you. Now let's go further and find out how did this Squeeze the Spaceman's Taco come about. Wow. I mean, just the title alone, I said Squeeze the Spaceman's Taco. Which taco? Let's talk about how did that come about, and let's talk about your son, our son, Cade.
Yeah, Cade has some vivid phrases that I'll just shout out. May not appear to mean much, but they mean a whole lot to him. Squeeze the Spaceman's Taco. It's just something he'd randomly shout out and start laughing, and he'd tell you that you don't squeeze the spaceman's taco, which certainly sounds like good advice to me, because I wouldn't want to tick off the spaceman by squeezing his taco. You don't drink the cowboy's orange juice. He's got tons of them. He'll shout out random movie phrases as well at inappropriate times, but so you got to laugh at it. You got to find humor in things throughout life just to get you through it. But I've always wanted to do something, write something to help others. I know, especially during that dark time we had a couple of years ago when Cade was just having a violent outburst, and we were dealing with so much, and I'm realizing I couldn't keep my job. I remember many late nights online just looking for advice from people that are going through it and things that can help or encourage or point me in the right direction. So if I can do anything like that for anybody out there, I'm going to do what I can. So I started the blog.
Go ahead. That's all I was about to say. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The allergies are getting too much right now.
Oh, baby. I feel for you. I understand. Okay. You need to have some water and lemon right next to you.
I'm going to get some water real quick.
Kelly?
Okay.
I'm waiting for you.
I'm pretty good now.
The space. You good? Okay, you got the water? Okay, family. He's okay. The allergies are down here are really bad, really bad. Okay, so tell us about the blog, SqueezeTheSpaceman'sTaco.com.
Yeah, the blog is meant to just encourage people, let them know they're not alone, maybe help them, guide them to some options that they should seek out. I think we have a very colorful family here, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. But there's a lot of joy that comes from, even all the stuff that we're going through with him, with my special needs brother-in-law. I have a couple of nephews that live with me. We're pulled together. We make it through. We're family, so we've got to help each other out. And
awesome.
I write about all the craziness around this house.
Well,
hopefully
family,
it's
if you haven't... Yes, go ahead.
Hopefully it's uplifting. I intend to show the good, the bad, everything else involved with raising a disabled child and just the different strains and stresses it can put on a family and how you cope and get through it.
And let's talk about that, Kelly, because, like I said, we were talking offline before we came on, and I know several people that have children that are dealing with autism. And it's not an easy job if you're going through it, and for us that are not going through, we can sympathize, but we can't empathize. And let's speak about that as a parent. Like, when did you all find out that Cade was autistic?
He was diagnosed when he was 4. He started speaking early, very well behaved, considered advanced, and then things just kind of stopped. And I just knew something wasn't right, and he was screaming a lot and just having these crazy tantrums, which, I know what a tantrum looks like, but it was something different. And every time we'd express concern to family members or friends, they would always tell us that, oh, no, that's just normal. He's just spoiled. He should have more children. And I just knew in my heart that something was different. So we just started seeking help wherever we could. And at 4, he was diagnosed as autistic. And we just went from there and took any information that we found from other people that said these certain therapies or treatments were all beneficial. We've done just about everything we could.
Now, are there any signs to look out for at an early age of autism? Because, like you said, Cade was fine up until 4 years old, and it's like something just triggered. But were the doctors able to explain to you all what it was that wasn't found, that wasn't discovered at an early age, earlier than 4?
I think it was around 2.5 when we noticed that something was wrong, and 4 was when he was officially diagnosed. There's different things, and sometimes they don't advance at all. Cade was different, of course. Everything seemed fine, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. There's some theories that there's a genetic defect somewhere in there, and then it could be an external factor that triggers that to become dormant. And so I really don't know, other than as a parent, you'll know when something is different with your child. Different things that people said to look for was like a lack of eye contact. He didn't have that. They'd want to be to themselves. Cade loves people. He loves interaction. Just can't quite communicate. So there's a lot of things that people said to look for that wasn't the case in our situation. They'd say, watch how they play with toys. Maybe if you give them a toy car, they wouldn't push it. They'd just kind of spin the wheels or whatever. That wasn't him either. So I guess that's why the puzzle piece is a symbol for it, because it is puzzling, and every puzzle piece is different. But those are typical things that people say to look for, is that, of course, the lack of speech, lack of eye contact, the manner in which they play with toys, not the proper way. They may put them in lines and form a line with them rather than doing what they're supposed to do. But that wasn't the case with Cade. It was just a lot of screaming. He would go to screaming right away. And a psychologist we were talking to once described it being similar to a stroke patient, where they know what they want to tell you, but the words just can't come out, so they'll get frustrated. And that really hit the nail on the head for me, because my father had a stroke. And I remember him being so angry and upset, he would start throwing things around the room because he was just so frustrated. And he did eventually regain his speech, and that's exactly what he said back then, was that the words were right there on the tip of his tongue, but they just would not come out no matter what. So it's frustrating, and I understand that. And that made me more able to empathize with him in that situation, and know that although raising a child like that can be difficult, being in his shoes is certainly a whole lot more difficult, and I'm very fortunate and blessed to not be in that situation.
Right. And that is hard. God bless y'all heart, you and wifey Julie, and everyone that's dealing with a child or children with autism. And like I said to you offline, it seems as if it's more common now than before, maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And I think I read somewhere where it's possible that it could have been something that was injected as the mother was pregnant. I mean, there could be all sorts of theories. But like I said, to me, it seems like there's so many more now of our children are being diagnosed with autism than the norm, not the norm, but of what it was before. And you mentioned earlier, too, that you took Cade off of the medication. And tell our parents, why you did that, because somebody else may want to do it but fear that it will, make their children worse. What was your reason for taking him off the medication, and what was the results after taking him off the medication?
Well, I do notice that with Cade, he's very sensitive to medication, and if there's a negative side effect, more than likely he's going to get it. Some certain medications help him with different things. Our body chemistry is different for everybody, and some things with Cade, some things that might affect one person, maybe, for instance, medications that might make me drowsy or the typical person drowsy, it could very well get him wired up and just hyped up and ready to go. Cade was a very slim kid, and once he started taking the medications, he started pounding the weight on. In fact, one time he gained about 40 pounds in about 4 months, which is just crazy. And a lot of these different medications that they put them on slow their metabolism and increase their appetite. So, he had the weight gain issue for one. And then one medication in particular, it was Abilify, that they put him on for whatever reason, saying that, there's been results showing that this has been beneficial in treating autism. And he started that, and that's when I noticed the migraines kick in, and what looked like migraines to me. He would all of a sudden drop on the ground and start banging his head and screaming, and I can tell he was hurting. And looking online, just to hear other people's response, there were a lot of people that complained about migraines with that medication. And that makes sense to me because as a parent, I could tell he was hurting. He just can't verbalize how badly he was hurting. I informed the doctor about that, and the psychiatrist would, convince me that banging your head is a psychotic behavior, and that didn't make sense to me because I could tell the kid was hurting, and for some reason, banging his head was giving him a little relief out of it. But let's listen to the doctor. The doctor put him on an antipsychotic drug. That turned him extremely violent. And he was around 14 at the time. And he's been a big kid. And like I said, the weight gain from all the medication, his pounded weight on him. Currently he's 265 pounds, 6'2". And he was big at 14 also. He's 17 now, but at 14, he's all of a sudden became really violent. And he would pull handfuls of hair out of my wife's head. He would bite into me to where bite big chunks where I'm bleeding and just covered in bite marks, and break every wall in the house, break every door in the house, just about every window. The kid was just losing it. And, I keep going back to the doctors, and they would just put him on a different antipsychotic drug. And every time I explained what's going on with him, it still came, again, from the doctors convincing me that it's just puberty kicking in, and the violence, can come out with the hormones. Well, needless to say, the child ended up hospitalized because he was just out of control. He wouldn't sleep. He was extremely violent. In fact, we had to hide every sharp object in the house. We had to put all the knives away, anything that could possibly harm anybody. lock it up because that's how much concern we had, that we just didn't know what this kid would be capable of. Hospital had him classified as violent. The police were always around. He would attack me at the hospital. He was just really out of it. He even attacked the hospital staff.
Wow.
I tried to convince the doctors at the hospital that thought it was the medication making him this way. They convinced me otherwise, that it's just not. It's just the way it is, and we really need to think about having him institutionalized. Needless to say, we got him out of the hospital after they treated him, and he was home. Well, about a week later, we're back in the hospital through the emergency room with him attacking and spitting and having a royal fit. And this time, when I met up with the hospital doctor, I let him know that I'm convinced it's the medication, and he tried to convince me otherwise. I fought with him and let him know that, look, just get him off of this medication, no more antipsychotic type of drugs. Just get him off of this, and I guarantee you will never see my face again. I will just deal with it. So we did get him off that medication, and after that, there's no more trouble with violence. And what is frightening to me is thinking about how many kids are locked up someplace, or maybe even in jail, and they're given the same medication that's making them behave that way. If somebody gave me a medication that made me feel the way he was obviously feeling, I could at least have the ability to speak up and say, wait, this is making me feel strange. I don't like the way it's making me feel. I can't take this.
Right.
Giving medication like that to a child who can't verbalize is just, it's frightening. And I couldn't imagine being trapped like that, where I'm given something that's making me feel pretty much tortured, and I have to live my life that way because I can't say it, and I just keep getting the same thing that's making me that way.
Right. Wow. And you said Cade is now 17. He'll be 18. And what's the next step, or what is his next step as he turns 18?
That part is also very frightening because there's an alarming number of autistic children that are becoming adults. And what are we going to do as a society to ensure that these adults have some purpose in society, or that they're taken care of? I don't know. He can stay at the school. He's at the School for Children with Disabilities, and he can stay there until he's keep going there until he's 22. Of course, my intention is to have him live at home for as long as he wants, as long as he can.
That's right.
I am, looking into other options for later down the line, just in case, we're not around any longer. Somebody's going to have to look out for my buddy.
Well, Brother Kelly, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you, and I love Julie. And I have to meet Mr. Cade. I want to hear him say what he said, and I was going to bleep out what he said, but I'm going to say it anyway, and say it with me. This is one of Cade's saying. Slap that bitch off the moon. Am I correct?
Slap that bitch off the moon.
When I read that, I bust out laughing. I said, "Oh my goodness!" And as I kept reading on your blog, I also came across, which I think this is really cute too. Remember that when things seem their worst, keep your bitch slapping hand strong and slap that bitch off the moon. Oh wow! Oh wow!
That is awesome. That's a
I love you.
good model
like
to live by.
Huh?
I said that is a great model to live by.
Well, I'm definitely going to put it on the Post-it and put it on my wall, and to remember that. But I love you, May. And whenever you want to come back, keep us updated on what's going on with Cade. You're more than welcome. Family, make sure you read the blog, Squeeze the Spaceman Taco. How can those that want to get in contact with you, Brother Kelly, get in contact with you? Because we're about to close up here, and give them your information, contact information. And is there any other website or contact number that they may get in contact with you to keep up on your modeling shows too? As well as maybe somebody want to contact you for personal fitness training. I don't know. But let our listeners know how they can get in contact with you. And then we're going to tune out, family. And once Brother Kelly finished, we're going to go out with another Aladdin tune, because that's what Kate likes, and it's Friends Like Me. Go ahead, Brother Kelly.
Just go on squeezethespacemans.taco.com. There's a place where you can leave me a message, and just shoot me a message there, and I'll get back with you.
Okay, family, y'all got that. We so appreciate our Brother Kelly for stopping through and bringing awareness upon autism. And family, like he said, you're not alone. So if there's some help that you need and you can't get it online, be sure to go to his blog, read his blogs. You will laugh, and he's letting you all in his household, and that's what it's about, us being transparent for others, so that we can empower and uplift each other and inspire you in knowing that you are never alone. Brother Kelly, again, I thank you so much for blessing us your time. And family, you've been listening to Sound Off Only Fierce Seers. I am your host, Miss Tonya E. And if it's in God's will, we'll come back on another given day. But for right now, we're about to close out. Enjoy your day. And again, this is Friends Like Me from the movie Aladdin. And we dedicate this to Son Kate. Have a blessed day. Peace.
Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day presents Goodness from the Garden. Imagine your home blooming with floral scents. No dirt or grime in sight. That's the power of Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day. With uplifting scents and down-to-earth values, Mrs. Meyer's collection of household products is inspired by the garden. Each scent made with essential oils and other thoughtfully chosen ingredients that don't just smell delightful. They're tough on messes, too. When it comes to cleaning, it's more fun if it smells like the garden. So visit MrsMyers.com now.
If you wish you could easily find the best area for your hunting goals and contact directly with landowners to lease their land, then check out HLRBO, because you can do all that and much more. Create your free HLRBO account today and find your hunting lease at the click of a button. HLRBO has thousands of listings all over the country, short and long-term leases, hunting guides, and game farms. Find your hunting lease today at HLRBO.com. That's HLRBO.com.